we've talked a lot about this market where fishers go out and fish for resources for fish. Everyone is allowed to participate. We have this classic case of a common pool resource or the tragedy of the commons. We try to regulate that market failure to internalize the externality and more sustainably manage the resource. We haven't talked about ecological change and how climate is adding an additional pressure with ocean warming,
Right.
ocean acidification, and sea level rise. That's not just going to change the way that fish behave and their ability to reproduce in the future. It's also going to affect how people behave. And I think it's really important that research understands both how the ecological system changes, how the human system changes, and how those two things interact. So that's kind of where I think the exciting research is in the frontier. And there's a lot of it already happening. So we are smack dab in the middle of the UN decade for science for ocean sustainability or sustainable development for the oceans. I probably messed that up, but you can find out what the technical term is. It's basically till 2030. The UN has decided that we should invest a lot of resources in the science behind sustainable development of the ocean and ocean economy. And so we're interested in figuring out, how can we treat natural resources like financial assets or like produced capital assets that we already have good measures of at a country level. So GDP would measure our productivity of produced capital, but it might not capture things like the degradation of natural capital. So how can we bring all these things together to understand not just how fisheries operate and how we should best manage them, but how we should best manage them in the context of a changing world and a climate crisis?